Welcome to another video with the Agile Shop. In this video, we'll answer what is sprint planning in Scrum. The sprint planning meeting kicks off the sprint. A product backlog may represent many months of work, which is more than the Scrum team can complete in a single sprint. To determine the most important subset of product backlog items to build in the next sprint, the team holds the sprint planning. The roles that join the sprint planning meeting are the product owner, Scrum Master, and the development team. During the sprint planning, the product owner and the development team agree on the sprint goal, which is what the sprint should achieve. With this sprint goal in mind, the product owner and the team picks the highest priority product backlog items that can be completed within the sprint, while working at a sustainable pace. The backlog items should be in a format of a user story, which includes an acceptance criteria. The creation of the user story is the main responsibility of the product owner. The user stories should be estimated by the development team in story points. If you want to know more how user stories should be structured with acceptance criteria or what are story points, please watch our other videos here. The collection of user stories that are picked from the product backlog to go into the next sprint forms the sprint backlog. Usually, the product owner would explain one story at a time to the development team. The entire team will have a conversation to make sure everyone on the team understands the user stories. After the user story is understood, the development team will drive the conversation on how this user story will be achieved. At the end of this conversation, the development team will estimate the user story in story points and introduce the user story in the sprint backlog. This process repeats until the development team has enough user stories to fill a sprint backlog, and no more that they can complete within the sprint while working at a sustainable pace. The sprint allocation of user story doesn't need to be perfect, but the development team will get better in time with planning how many user stories they should commit in the sprint planning. The duration of the sprint planning meeting depends on the length of the sprint. If the team performs within a 2-week sprint, the sprint planning meeting should be anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. The more mature the Scrum team is, the more efficient and short the sprint planning usually is. The sprint planning meeting is usually scheduled on Monday or midweek. If you want to know when you should schedule your sprint planning and all the other Scrum ceremonies, you should watch our other videos here. This ends our video on what is sprint planning in Scrum. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for future content. Thank you for watching.